Hello and greetings. This is Ayya Phalanyani from Germany, from Ananja Vihara. Back here and Sarita there. We start off with some meditation. As usual, I would say, it is always good to do some breathing first. And of course, some people are always coming late, so they can just join in meditating. And we can just sit upright and relaxed. And breathe in and out, softly, smoothly. We're sitting upright. And use only the muscles and sinews to sit upright. All the rest is relaxed. Now somebody's knocking at my door. I'm acknowledging. Ja? Silke? Ja. Somebody's waiting for me in the Dhamma hall, and I'm giving the talk in my room because it's quite cold. And so until the person who joins in here at Ananja Vihara comes up, we just continue breathing in and out smoothly, softly. Relaxed also. And the breath is going to open our hearts. With every breath we take in, our chest opens. And as our chest opens, the lungs widens and the heart is also opening. And we acknowledge steps from the back. Sit on the sofa. I didn't tell you that I'm doing it up here. And as the chest widens and opens, our heart also softens and opens. And it's just a breath in. That opens the heart, and it's the breath out that is going to release all unwholesomeness that we might have in our mind, that we might have in our heart. It's all just gone with the wind, if you want to say so. Just goes out. And we relax the shoulders. We relax the faces, the chin. And most importantly, we relax the belly. No obstruction for the breath to go in and out. We're not controlling. We're not holding anything. Just a relaxed belly that is moving softly, or that is being moved softly by the air that gets in the body. We notice our abdomen is rising. And when we breathe out, we notice our abdomen is falling back again into a very relaxed position. There's no reason to control this or to make this. It's just happening, and we're acknowledging this. And by doing so, by softening and opening the heart, we prepare ourselves to be ready for the Dhamma that comes in now. And just when I looked at the line of the title of the announcement, I noticed a mistake, so I excuse myself for that. There's an E missing. It should say veterans, not veterans. So I'm pretty sure that I made a spelling mistake when writing the title. I excuse me for that. I hope you understood nonetheless what I was wanting to say, what I was about to say. So I do have a dear friend who is coming, not always, but frequently, to our sessions. Didn't see him yet, but the questions are his, and maybe there's more for him to ask later. But I think actually what we have here is enough. So the question first is, hi everybody, I didn't say hello. So the question first is veterans, Sila, and meditation practice. Does that go together? For those living in the US, the idea of, or the concept of what a veteran is very clear. Not so much for other countries. So I would like to explain in brief that, to my understanding, a veteran is somebody who has fought in a war, like in Vietnam. There are many Vietnam veterans. My uncle, one of my uncles, actually, I had an uncle from the US. He was a Vietnam veteran. and not very long, he didn't survive it. He put an end to his life himself because he could not bear up with his own morals and with what had happened, what he had witnessed and done. So he was my first as a child. It happened when I was a child, and so I understand that this is really something concerning, for some people who have served. You call it, I wouldn't call it serve, but in the US it's called served, in the army. And you might have killed people, you might have done things that you would never imagine being possible for you to do. But somehow you agree to do. Maybe you had no other choice. Maybe you just stumbled into it. Maybe it was you were harmless and peaceful in the beginning, and later, by the drill that you get, you needed to change, and you changed and did things that are unconceivable, unforgivable, and unpleasant. So even if you don't have experiences like this, even if nothing happened, if you didn't do anything, you might have seen people die, and war is always traumatizing. We in Europe experience this here because we have a lot of refugees coming into the country from Ukraine. And they are just fleeing because there are horrors of war that they are facing at home. So I think it is really, really important to answer those questions. How do those people who have been to a war, who have seen things that they might never wanted to have seen, have done things that they might never wanted to do, how do they deal with it when they come back? And trauma can happen very easily. Far less terrible things than a war can cause a trauma to people. One of the examples I often give when I talk about trauma with people is that when somebody had a dear teddy bear as a child and needed to give that back, or needed to give that away to somebody else, or lost it, that is a trauma. That can cause a trauma. And usually you would laugh at that and say, well, that's nothing. But trauma really can be caused by various things. And if a teddy bear that needs to be given up can cause a trauma, imagine when you have seen things, when you have done things or witnessed things that are life-threatening. How deep that will go. And some people make the choice to go to the army. And it's a valid choice. Even in the time of the Buddha, there were soldiers. And when we look at those jobs that are not right livelihood, you might know that there are some jobs that are really fully declared not to be right livelihood. And that a soldier is not among them. Killing, of course, if you have to do that as a soldier, then it is a bad thing to do. But if you're a soldier when you want to protect somebody, your land, your king, your president, whomever, then this is not in itself a job that is unwholesome. But of course, the possibility to get into trouble and to get into doing unwholesome things is much higher than working in a flower shop or something, or selling flowers or doing something else. So there are considerations, of course, that need to be done beforehand, before you do this. If you are really capable of handling that trauma. But say it's too late, you did it, you did the job. And now you live with it. Now you have to live with it. Then what to do? So what my friend asked is does it make sense? Can I, as a veteran who was in war, who has fought, does it even make sense to keep the Sila for me? Or is it lost? Am I going to hell anyways? And is it just a lost case with me? No, it is not a lost case in any way. And there, my strongest point is, look at Angulimala. He was a serial killer. He killed 999 people on purpose. And he still could become enlightened because he changed his way. And every veteran who is not in active service, not out in the field where you kill or get killed, then of course you can live with the Sila and you can purify yourself. And it's very important that you do, because that will help you to get over your trauma. The strength of Sila in this case is that this is something that I'm never ever going to do, because Sila means, first of all, that you are not taking any life. So when you really try to live Sila, the first thing is that you start not to harm any living being anymore. So, and now a question arose in the friend. He has found a turtle, and there are all sorts of turtles on this earth. Some vegetarians and some I don't know, but also there seem to be turtles that are eating meat. I didn't know. I thought all turtles are vegetarians, but no. So he found that turtle, and he took that turtle in, and he cared for it. He made it a very nice place to stay, and had a warming light over it. And then he Googled what kind of turtle is it, and what does it eat. And then he found out it's a meat eater. And then he needed to find worms, because this turtle wanted to eat bugs and worms and things. So he said, well, now I just want to help. I want to help this turtle being. I want to care for it. And now I have again to kill beings for this one being that I decided to help. What do I do? He said, can I ever get out of that cycle of killing and being killed and killing again? And is there any way out? And he thought of that very serious. And I mean, if you really try to live the Sila, it is serious. What can you do? So in this situation, I would maybe take the turtle out, and if there is a place in the garden somewhere, you can one could make a space, or you just release it and say, well, good luck, buddy. Find your food. And there's several ways you could deal with it, but this is not the point. The point is, what's next? What's happening next? That is where I need to break the Sila again. That was the question. And there is no answer to this. You know, life throws things at us. All sorts of things. Good and bad. And we learn to grasp it all. To take it all. And we hear sounds like a nice music, we grasp it. We hear somebody talking to us, we grasp it. Somebody is insulting us, we grasp it. And we take it personal. And sometimes it is important not to take things so very personal. Sometimes it's important to let things be as they go naturally. And in case of that turtle, if you can't make it, I don't know how these things, not a cage, but a free space where the turtle can walk around in your own garden. If you don't have a room for that, maybe you should give it away to somebody who has, or who's somebody who doesn't care whether that being needs worms and insects to eat. And maybe you could then look for a turtle that eats salads. So yeah, but how to get those Sila into a life? So we cleared the path and said, yes, it's absolutely worthwhile to practice the Sila, even as a veteran, even as a former criminal, even as somebody who did really wrong. The most important thing is you are sure that you're never going to do it again. Then you can start with the Sila, and then the Sila will work its way. Then the Sila will help you to overcome your trauma. Because you're genuinely trying to better yourself. And the idea of, or the knowledge, the deep knowledge within your heart that I'm a person who does not wish harm to any other being is very important. So if you were a person who has harmed people before, then the most important step is to know, to understand, and to live, to practice, not to harm people anymore. And then you can start to heal. You can start to forgive yourself for what you have done. You can start to find ways for yourself not to find excuses. It's never about finding excuses and to say, yeah, I did it because or so. There are no excuses for what we did. We did things. Pam, they're out there. Words, deeds. It's out there. It's in the world. But now we can do better. And knowing that we can do better helps us not to do it again, and helps us not to sit there with the shame and blame. You know, guilt is not a very Buddhist concept. It's more of a Christian concept. So when you do things, it's not the guilt of, it's not the fault of your parents. It's not the fault of whatsoever. It's your own deed. It's your own karma. Karma means action. And this, what you do, will have a reaction. So when from the moment you know, I'm not going to do anything unwholesome anymore, you can change your entire life just by understanding there is no guilt. There's just responsibility. I'm responsible for what I do. If I have done wrong, I just don't repeat it. I don't sit there and blame myself. I don't sit there and blame anybody else. I take the things into my own hand and change them by deciding to do better, to do wholesomeness, to live wholesomeness. And the Sila, the 5 Sila, we remember the first is Pana Tipata Vedamani. And this is the training not to kill any living being. And you should take that training serious when you do it, and not even kill the mosquito, not even kill worms. At least not intentionally with a bad intention. The next is Adinadana Vedamani. That is not taking what is not given. And this is also very important to remember. Do not take what is not given to you. You can refer to stealing, of course, but you can also think of things that you find in your home in one place and or at your workplace and put it back into another place. There are people, I was working with other people, and there are always people who grab things from you, from your desk, for example, and then you're looking for, and then they just, I'm just borrowing for it for a second, and then they don't bring it back to the same place, but you need to go looking for it. They gave it back, they don't have it anymore, but sometimes they don't even remember where they put it. So even this, because it causes annoyance, you shouldn't do. If you got something in one place, you should bring it back there. So you can keep that quite strict, or you say, well, it's just the not stealing. Then the third, if we speak about the 5 Sila, would be to be sexual correct. It does not say, don't do this, don't do that. Our rule does not say that. It just says, I train myself to behave correctly, means that I'm not going to harm anybody. I'm not going to annoy anybody. And there are explanations in the sutta where it is. Oh, that's an interesting question, Sud. Let me just explain this. Finish the 5 Sila, and then we go back. So that was the third. The third, being correct in your sexual activity, so that you don't do anything that harms another. And if you do anything that your partner doesn't like, it's no good. You're breaking the rule, if you want to say so. But more than that is you annoy someone. You are doing something that's not okay. If you cheat on your partner when your partner doesn't want you to cheat, don't do it. It's no good. If your partner doesn't care because they do it themselves and they believe in free whatever, then it's not so bad. That it's most probably not even breaking the Sila. But cheating on your partner usually is, because it's cheating. And that means the other one doesn't want it. So musavada is the next, the right speech. Don't lie, don't yell, don't insult, don't chatter idly, all these things. And the fifth is don't use drugs, alcohol, and things that are changing, changing your mind in a way that you cannot distinguish the wholesome from the unwholesome anymore. So, and now I go to the questions of Sud and Sarita. Dear Ayya, what is the criteria for unwholesomeness? It makes sense with 5 Sila, but what about things like playing video games, which is not breaking Sila, since it can cause wrong views? It is indeed, playing video games is not as bad. And playing war video games is not as bad as going to a war in person. But still, you need a certain kind of mindset to kind of play those war games and ego shooters. And I think there are some, I discussed that with people. And there are some very nice games out there. And we worked with that. And there are really wholesome games out there where you build up something, where the solution is finding something wholesome, and where the aim is to better your mental health. And these are okay. But there are games that are so bad. And I know personally that games are a world in itself, and you can get absorbed in it. So if you have an addiction to those games, it is maybe not breaking a Sila in the sense from those 5 Sila, but still it's unwholesome because it's an addiction. It's a craving for sense pleasures that you are caught up by, that you are caught in. So I'm not saying that playing video games is 100% and undoubtedly unwholesome, but it can be quite unwholesome in some under some circumstances. And it would be possible to use your time better. Like doing some meditation, doing some community work, learning some suttas, doing some more wholesome than that. So Sarita, Did I understand right? Being a soldier is not per se declared as false livelihood, but even the motive as a soldier, I want to defend the king, includes the willingness to harm. How can this be right? Well, I'm not saying this is right, but it does not totally belong to the list of unwholesome um, works. Um, Selling weapons, selling people, animals, and all these kinds, that yes. But there are in some suttas soldiers, and the Buddha is talking to them. And of course, he does not praise them for their job, but he also does not condemn them and says, you are doing a total wrong thing. Because they might have had a very good intention. In protecting somebody. So of course, when it comes to war, and you need to go to war and fight, then it's inevitably that you do unwholesomeness. So it's a dangerous job, and it can easily turn into into something very unwholesome. But most soldiers, for example, here in Germany, if they become soldiers, they must never expect, or they do actually never expect to go to fight somewhere. It's kind of out of thinking. Even when you are in the army, you would not expect to go somewhere necessarily. So here, Stevie, thank you for talking about this. I am a US Army combat veteran. I spent a year in Afghanistan. It's been over 10 years. I'm living with the trauma, and Buddhism is a refuge for me. I'm very happy that you found Buddhism, and I do really hope that more veterans are finding and are coming to Buddhism, because I really think that the way of thinking in Buddhism, that you need to leave the concept of guilt behind, is very important for healing, and that there are just some ideas in the practice that we have, in the practice of Sila and in the meditation practice, that can help with trauma, that can heal trauma. So and I don't see why you shouldn't use that. And I mean, we all do have life choices that we make at some point, and yours or many people's life choice send them to a war. Or it just happens, like you wake up in one morning, like the people in Ukraine, and first thing you know, in the morning, my country is invaded, has been invaded. So you must kind of think, what do I do? So there are choices that need to be made in life. And I can only wish for all of us, that there is no whatsoever reason that we do need to harm another being. But if we do, or if we have done, then forgiving, learning that it's not about guilt, learning that forgiving yourself is possible by transforming yourself. And you transform yourself by giving up violence and choosing harmlessness as a way of life. I think, yeah, that might really help. So I spoke a lot about the Sila now and the importance of it. And in the title we have the meditation practice also. And it's good to know that there are meditation techniques that might help you overcome all sorts of trauma. So here in Germany, you don't have to deal so much with the trauma of veterans, but still, women come here being abused, suffering, wanting to overcome their trauma from that. Also, men coming from somewhere, being traumatized, coming here. So there is a way that you can deal with it. And the first thing is that you learn your breath. This is of great importance. The breath and how we feel and how we act is very much interrelated. Usually when one gets angry, the breath changes. When one gets greedy, also the breath changes. So our emotions are usually, normally, changing our breath. What we can learn and need to learn in this case is to learn the breath and not learn to control the breath, but to manage it, to know it, to understand it, and to keep it calm. I'm not a friend of saying control the breath, because controlling is always force. And we don't need any force there. We need discipline, concentration, awareness, all these things. But no force, no control, management. Skillful, wise management, that yes. So you learn to look at your breath first. When you look at your breath in the belly, much trauma can arise that you might have subdued and suppressed. And when you start to learn to breathe and you first start to relax your belly and your entire breath body, it might happen that a lot of pain and trauma and really physical pain also is arising. And the important thing is that you nonetheless go through it, that you bear up with it. You don't chicken out, you don't run away from it, but you learn to be stronger than that. And there's always a next breath. If not, you're dead. And then so what? But until that moment comes, you're breathing. And you can know each and every single breath, every moment. And when you know your breath, and when you learned it well, what happens is that you can slow it down when you need it. So when temper arises, when you get angry and you have learned your breath well, you have learned and trained your breath well, you can just continue to slowly breathing. And your anger will not arise as strong, because the breath does not allow it. So this is one very, very important thing to do. Look at the breath. Look at it. Look at how the belly is arising and falling back. That is when you sit somewhere and you take just deep but relaxed breaths in and out. And you know when the breath is going into your body, the abdomen is rising. And when you breathe out, the abdomen is falling back into its original relaxed position. So that is why you name rising and falling. If that is not possible for you to say rising, falling, when it happens, you can as well count your breath. That is easier in the beginning. I started with counting the breath from 1 to 10. Every out breath is 1, 2, 3, up to 10, and then again and again. This is the very first exercise. And you can do that for years. And it does help. It might put you through some hard times, and you might want to have an assistant, somebody who is there with you and motivates you to go through with it, because you might want to run away because of all that is coming up. But as I said, you can't run away from it. Trauma sits in the heart until you release it. And the breath does help with that. There are more questions. I have a non-sexual relationship with a friend that has created great tension with my partner. Should I end this friendship to keep the peace in the household? This friend was a refugee from Iran. Yeah. Female friends, for most of the female partners, do not work well together. That always creates tension. It is highly unlikely, or quite unlikely, that this works out well. Of course, the best would be you could keep your friendship with your friend, and your partner would just not be jealous. But life is not like that. So partners do get jealous when there's somebody. And when you have friends, and I know a friendship bond, a non-sexual and clearly non-sexual friendship bond can be very loving and friendly. And sometimes our partners or your partners, I don't have any anymore. Only have friends, which is very convenient because I can have many, many, many. And I can love everybody who I want. And it is not restricted to that one single person that I'm in relationship with. I'm in relationship with everybody, so to say, but pull myself out of it mostly. Anyway, so you're living a normal life. Your partner is a very normal person that is just very scared, most probably, to lose you, and who is most probably thinking, well, that friendship and loving energy that he is bringing forward towards this woman, why is he not giving that to me? Which I understand. I would have thought the same way. I can understand that perfectly. So, and why aren't you? Um, mm, but of course, friendship is important. And mm, if there were a way to let your partner know, huh, but that depends more on the partner than on you, actually, that you would be able to get it across that she is not missing anything from you, that loving friendship energy that you have for your uh, Iranian refugee friend is not taking away from the love that you have for your girlfriend. If you could get that across somehow, then it could work out well, and they might even become friends. But if you want to have it easy, I would most probably end the friendship or reduce it with the refugee from Iran. But I'm not the best of advisors when it comes to relationship. I don't have any. So, but yeah, the the fear of a woman can be quite strong to lose the partner, and try to take that heaviness of that fear off her shoulders. That truly will help. Then what do we have? Venerable Ayya, I live in the tropics and encounter insects and I never kill them. Sadhu. However, I sometimes have to spray some repellent liquids to try to keep dangerous creatures out. That is no problem. If you are trying to keep the dangerous creatures out, you help them as much as you help yourself. Did I say that twice now? I got lost because Edward said thank you. So you help them creatures as much as you help yourself. That's what I wanted to say. Because you just keep them away from you and from the danger that you step on them, that you are not aware and kill them anyway, even though you don't want to. And so there are sprays or liquids or things that keep insects or beings away from where they shouldn't be. And every year we have ants in the kitchen. And it's so difficult. Once they're in the house and in the kitchen, it's almost impossible to cook there without harming them. So you better keep them out. It's good that you do, for you and for them. So just try not to use the most poisonous things to keep insects or animals away. But I know that there are non-poisonous things that just by the smell, like baby powder, is keeping ants away. So this works very well. It doesn't look very nice, but it's okay. It helps. Well, time is over. I hope I could give you some inspiration and some motivation to keep up the good work and keep working, even though there might be trauma. And I think my friend for whom I started this talk and who usually comes today didn't. So nonetheless, I wish you well. Be blessed, be safe, be at peace. Bye bye.